Senator Bob Corker also working on legislation in response to President Trump's decision to impose steel and aluminum tariffs on key trading partners. The Tennessee senator tweeted over the weekend, "I am working with like-minded Republican senators on ways to push back on the president using authorities in ways never intended and that are damaging to our country and our allies. Will Democrats join us?" Well, we have a Democrat and a Republican with us. Joining us now, former House Majority Leader and former Texas Congressman Tom DeLay, along with former Pennsylvania Congressman Jason Altmire. Congressman DeLay, your take on this and even what Bob Corker is saying.
Take on what?
On the trade battle over even members of his own party are disagreeing with President Trump and his economic team, how we're placing tariffs and getting into a trade spat with our trading partners and our allies.
Well, I'm here sitting in Houston, the America's #1 port. 280,000 jobs depend on the Port of Houston. NAFTA has been a great success for the city of Houston and the Port of Houston, and people here in Houston are very, very concerned about all this. It's a very high-risk game that the president is playing. We all understand that we want to level the playing field, and there's reforms that need to be made with our trading partners. But this is very, very risky, and people are very concerned about it. And frankly, I think it's starting to find its way in the politics of the upcoming midterms.
Yeah, Congressman Altmire, how do you see it? Because again, this is not an issue that falls like you're for tariffs and you're a Republican, and you're against tariffs and you're a Democrat. It is completely blurred in the middle.
Well, I represented a district in western Pennsylvania outside of Pittsburgh, so I certainly understand the rhetorical value of tariffs on the steel and aluminum industry. But the fact is, it's bad public policy. It's going to impact the rest of the country in ways that the American people don't even know yet. When you have a trade war with another country, that's going to impact things much greater than just the steel industry or the aluminum industry.
So I read the article in the Journal on the steel industry, and there are plants in Pittsburgh that are now buying their steel from other countries and bringing it in, and they're actually asking the Trump administration for exemptions on these tariffs so that they can do business, and because they can get it cheaper there than making it in Pittsburgh.
There is a 700 million ton surplus of steel in the world, mostly driven by Chinese steel. So the fact that we're imposing these tariffs on countries in Europe and Mexico and Canada, that's not really addressing the problem. It's antagonizing our allies, and it's going to result in a trade war that's going to impact the agriculture industry, perhaps the aviation industry, the medical device industry. That's going to impact everyday Americans.
I say, I've been on that. I've been on that side of that argument. But John, you can't argue, at least in the short run, with what the stock market's been doing. You have the Russell 2000. Those companies may be somewhat insulated from a trade fight, but the Nasdaq Composite yesterday at a record high. You had a job growth that picked up steam last month. You need to point that out, that the economy, people are going about their business in this country.
But, I mean, this stock market was on a tear last year, and it's true, tech stocks are going way up right now, led by Netflix, Amazon, Apple. But the broader market, the S&P 500 isn't on the same kind of tear. And I think one of the reasons for that is because people are getting a little concerned about the global economic outlook, this global growth story. It might not be as bright as it looked like it was last year. Tech is a place where investors, I think, are going now for insulation from all of this trade fuss.
Governor, I want to get your take on this, because you're concerned about the people who live in Arkansas, whether it's farmers getting hit, whether it's all these Arab trading partners pulled back on buying agricultural products or slap tariffs on them. But people who support President Trump say, just wait. There's a grand plan in all of this. Are you in the camp who's willing to wait?
Yeah, I think I am. Mississippi County, Arkansas is the #1 steel producing county in the entire nation. Most people would never know that. So steel is an important part of the Arkansas economy. But I think the president has an opportunity to bring everybody to the table and force them to sit down and say, we're going to renegotiate the trade deals so that they're fair. You don't have free trade if you don't have fair trade. That's the president's position. He's not a protectionist, but he is a true free trader that has to be fair.
All right, I want to move on to this, switching gears to former House Speaker John Boehner speaking out about the state of the GOP last week and said, quote, there is no Republican Party, there's a Trump party. Congressman DeLay, your response to that?
Oh, there's a Republican Party, and it's live and well. Right now, Texas is going through its primary seasons, where next week is our Republican state convention. We've got great candidates running for some open seats made by retirements. Money's coming in. Listen, people are very, very happy about what the accomplishments of the Trump administration, and frankly, they're starting. They were upset with the Congress not being able to get things done, but they're seeing that they are getting things done, working with Trump. We're doing quite well here in Texas, and I think that's reflected all across the nation. So the Republican Party is fine. We're doing fine.
Congressman Altmire, I think maybe if the Democrats have a big problem is that they're the anti-Trump party, and that doesn't really get people to the polls and get you to get folks to vote for you. Connor Lamb in Pennsylvania have kind of had a different take on when he won that seat.
Well, that's the issue. If you look at the candidates around the country, they're talking about real issues. They're talking about the tariffs and the economy and immigration and issues that are important to everyday Americans. Yes, there are people in Washington, especially on Capitol Hill, who focus exclusively on President Trump. There are other television networks that focus exclusively on President Trump. But the people running for office, the people who are going to be on the ballot in November, those are the folks that are talking about everyday issues.
Congressman Altmire, Congressman Tom DeLay, good to see you both, Jason Altmire, Tom DeLay.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
everything.
You.